Ed was just an extraordinary human being and had a litany of gifts and skills that really he used to help keep the community safe.
He was always willing to lend a kind word.
His level of respect was always there.
A veteran police officer you just saw, clearly beloved by his fellow officers and his community, has lost his 2-month battle with COVID-19.
Akron Patrolman Edward Stewart died today. He's the second officer the department has lost in the last 3 months.
Tonight, fellow officers share their memories of Stewart with our Bob Jones while they wait their turn for that vaccine.
Wagon 86. For years, Officer Ed Stewart was behind the wheel, working to help keep Akron safe. The vehicle kind of like a badge of honor.
Oh, yeah. I never heard one bad thing said about him. Not one thing.
Now the badges of fellow officers are covered with black bands to honor Stewart, who some called the godfather of the police department.
If there was one word to, I guess, represent him, it would be respect.
At 60 years old, Stewart could have retired, but loved the job too much. And with his photographic memory, the department was happy to keep him.
He would run a license plate in his mind and say that car was stolen back then, or this car was recovered. He would just look at anybody and say, I remember arresting that guy.
It's not clear how, but in December, Stewart contracted COVID-19, and the struggle lasted for 2 months before he passed away this morning at Summa Akron City Hospital.
We'd all held out hope and offered prayer and hoped that he'd recover, and unfortunately he didn't, and that's the tragedy there.
Stewart's death comes at a time when officers are waiting for their shot at the vaccine.
I think it's critical for all first responders. We are the front line.
Officers have not been on Ohio's vaccination list for Phase 1A or Phase 1B.
It is our hope that we would be reflected in that distribution at some point.
Several of our officers have gotten COVID, and it's a risk not only to the officers, but to their families as well.
Adding to the heartbreak, Stewart is the second active duty Akron officer to die in 3 months. Officer Kenny Jones, nicknamed the Gentle Giant, passed away from natural causes in November. We're told Officers Stewart and Jones were like brothers. Both drove wagons, both well respected in the community. To lose both of them in just 3 months, it's hard for officers to fathom.
You just knew everything was going to be okay with those two. And it's definitely going to leave a mark for the upcoming officers to try to fill that void.
Officers say losing Stewart makes the pandemic hit home. A virus took his life, but the way he lived won't be forgotten.
He's just going to be missed, and our thoughts and prayers are, with his family during this extremely difficult time.
In Akron, Bob Jones, News 5.